Brought to you by Penguin.
"1001 Days: How Our First Years Shape Our Lifelong Health" by Sue Gerhardt. Read by Christine Hewitt.
Introduction. How to grow healthy humans. Babyhood and old age are seen as polar opposites and are rarely mentioned in the same breath, yet they are profoundly linked. The earliest experiences we have as fetus and infant have lasting effects on our lives, particularly on our mental and physical health as adults. I first came to understand these links in the 1990s and wrote about them in Why Love Matters: How Affection Shapes a Baby's Brain. As I embarked on this new book, decades later, I wanted to focus less on the brain and mental health and more on physical health, once again exploring how very early events can shape health, especially our health after middle age. What I didn't realise then was what a personal story this would turn out to be. As I started researching and talking to people about it, the first of my circle of friends and family developed a serious illness. My younger sister, Vicky, was diagnosed with a form of lymphoma or blood cancer, which was successfully treated. Then there was Harriet. Harriet was a linchpin of our friendly neighbourhood. Attractive, self-deprecating, warm and hospitable. We sometimes gathered at her house for a drink on bonfire night. There she would be, smoking her tiny roll-up cigarettes and making wry comments about the state of the world or tactfully inquiring about other people's lives. She looked fit, slim and contented with her own life, so it was a shock to hear that she had developed lung cancer while only in her 60s. One weekend, some of the residents of our street met up for an impromptu summer picnic on the scrubby common near our homes. An unexpected shower had made it so damp that we had to lay coats on the ground. As we passed around the crisps and homemade dips, I explained the theme of this book to her, that many adult illnesses were thought to be linked to early life experiences, often due to the mother's stress during pregnancy or postnatally affecting the baby's immune system. Immediately, Harriet responded, "That's me." She instantly recognised the possibility that her own difficult childhood may have played a part in her illness, just as much as lifestyle factors had, like smoking. That was also the summer when it began to dawn on me that my generation of baby boomers were starting to come face to face with the reality of ageing. There was more to come. First, there were the unexpected deaths of iconic figures, such as the musician David Bowie, the actor Alan Rickman, and the comedian Victoria Wood, all in their 60s. Then, closer to home, the toll mounted as other neighbours and friends died of things like pancreatic cancer, myeloma and heart disease, among them my close friend Dave, who had suffered from chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, and kidney failure for several years. Around this time, my own health started to fray at the edges too. Although I was researching and reading hundreds of scientific papers, it took me a while to realise that something had happened to my eyesight. A blood clot in one eye that was affecting my vision. Then I had another shock when, a year or two later, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. I began to realise that I, too, had entered that stage of life where the body starts to fail. But this book is not about the gloomy trials of old age. Instead, it has a positive message. It suggests that, with a better understanding of the early roots of health and illness, we could target our efforts differently, both as adults seeking to safeguard our own health and as a society looking to create more effective ways to prevent chronic illness. It also suggests that things could be very different for future generations. As we begin to understand the links between early experience and later disease, the possibility of prevention becomes more compelling. It opens up new and exciting opportunities to reduce the number of people who develop cardiovascular disease, obesity, type 2 diabetes, depression and dementia. Our number one health problems, over and above the newly relevant challenge of pandemic viruses. A clear but complex picture is emerging. There is no simple cause and effect.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?